In 1943, for an American B-17 crew, flying into Germany was a suicide mission. The reason? American fighters, the P-47s and P-38s, would run out of fuel at the border, turn for home, and abandon them. That's when the German aces, the Wolves, would pounce. They would wait, conserving their fuel, and then, as the escorts disappeared, they would tear the defenseless bomber formations to shreds. Loss rates were catastrophic. 10, 15, even 20% on a single mission. The sky over the Reich was a graveyard, and the Luftwaffe owned it. Subscribe for more untold World War II stories. Then, in December 1943, a new sound filled the air, a new silhouette, a fighter with a British engine and an American airframe, a plane that could fly all the way to Berlin and back. The P-51 Mustang had arrived, and the German aces, for the first time, were about to feel fear. On January 11, 1944, the Germans learned exactly what that fear felt like. Major James Howard, a former Flying Tiger, was escorting a massive bomber stream deep into Germany. As the B-17s turned for home, the German Wolves pounced as usual, a swarm of over 30 Focke-Wulf 190s and Messerschmitts, diving on a single bomber group. Howard's squadron dove to engage, but in the chaos, he was separated. He was suddenly, terrifyingly, alone. One P-51 Mustang, 30 German fighters, and a box of B-17s filled with men who were about to be slaughtered. His training, his instincts, everything told him to run. He was low on fuel. He was one man. Instead, he pushed his throttle forward and attacked. For the next 30 minutes, James Howard waged a one-man war against the Luftwaffe. He became a blur, a silver ghost diving and climbing, appearing from nowhere to break up the German attacks. He dove on a Focke-Wulf lining up on a B-17, his .50 cals ripping its wing off. He snap-rolled onto the tail of a Messerschmitt, forcing it to break off its attack. He climbed into another formation, firing at anything that moved, scattering the Wolves, who couldn't believe this single American plane was still attacking. He was a shepherd, defending his flock. The bomber crews watched in stunned silence, their radios suddenly screaming, "Who is that guy? Who is that P-51 pilot?" Howard kept fighting until his guns ran dry. He had no ammunition left, and he still didn't leave. He kept diving his Mustang through the German formations, faking attacks, using his plane as a shield, forcing them to break off. Bomber crews swore they saw him ram a German fighter, though he later said he just flew at him. For 30 minutes he held them off, alone. When he finally landed back in England, his fuel tanks on empty and not a single bullet left, the legend of the one-man Air Force was born. He was the only fighter pilot in Europe to be awarded the Medal of Honor for a single air battle. Howard's impossible fight was a message. The P-51 had not just arrived, it had taken over. Why? Because the P-51 was the weapon the Germans had no answer for. It had range. With drop tanks, it could fly 1,600 miles. There was no border anymore. There was nowhere left for the Wolves to hide. It had performance. With its Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, it could climb to 40,000 feet and fly at 440 miles per hour. It could hunt the German aces at any altitude, and it had numbers. The US was churning out 15 P-51s a day. The German aces, the gods of the sky, were broken. Johannes Steinhoff, a Luftwaffe general, called the Mustang the most dangerous opponent. Adolf Galland, one of the top aces, knew the war was lost when he saw P-51s over Berlin. He knew Germany couldn't compete. Erich Hartmann, the highest-scoring ace in history with 352 kills, said that by 1944, a new German pilot facing a new American pilot in a P-51 was a sitting duck. On D-Day, June 6, 1944, the Allies flew over 14,000 sorties. The once mighty Luftwaffe, hunted to extinction in their own skies by the P-51, managed only 319. The P-51 wasn't just a fighter. It was the weapon that made James Howard's impossible fight possible. It was the spear that broke the Luftwaffe's back, ended the slaughter of the bomber crews, and won the war in the air over Europe.